And good afternoon, folks. How you guys doing today? Warp 103, bring you guys another one. This time here, this is going to be the full review on the laser, and plus it's going to have things inside of it to show what you can make and what you can't make. So sit back, relax, and of course, enjoy the show.
I'm gonna have to rain down a godly firestorm on you.
And thank you for viewing this video. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking the icon above, and then of course hitting the bell icon to get notifications when the next video drops. So here we go. As you've seen in the previous video, we're talking about Twotrees laser. Now you can see it right here and everything else, and you can see it's kind of beefy. It's really sturdy. Again, you can see the numbers running up the side and everything else. Let's give you a close up to the front of it. You can see the laser right there. You can see the control for it right here. Again, 32-bit. You can see the top of it has a button on it for you to cut it on and off and everything else. That power supply, again, plugs into the top, and so does the computer cable. I wish it didn't plug in right there. I wish it was on the side bottom, but it is what it is. Now, as I stated before and everything else, that as you can see right here, so that you have both sides that have tracking on it, so that when it guides, you can see it's smooth and everything else, that so you don't have to worry about it being one-sided. Basically, one side will jog a little bit off from the other and everything else. That again, you can see that how this is built and everything else. That you can see the 3 cams right here for the rollers and everything else. That the rollers on this side right here, it's pretty stout. You can see the adjustment on this side here to belt tension and everything else. That so again, as I stated before and everything else, that it's a pretty solid piece of machinery. Now, I've had it for a little while and everything else, so that I've had stuff to do, and I'm going to show you my tests. Now, as you can see right here, when I set it up in light burn and everything else, so that I kind of made a mistake and everything else, so that, and oops, sorry. And you can see that it actually burned through. Actually, let's put something white behind there, because you will be like, there's nothing there. Let's put something white behind there for that, so you can see on the number side on this side here that it literally burnt through, because I didn't put the settings inside of there for the calibrations going along the side. Because I figured, so okay, once you use light burn, it's going to set it up and everything else, so that it's going to burn, but it's not going to burn through. So yeah, it kind of burned through. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of strange. So I had to redo it again, because you can see this burnt all the way through, and so like when I was trying to do it. And then I had to redo it, and basically I had to redo it at 50% of what this was. So my values were, and again, I have it based right here and everything else, so that I wanted to go from basically 10,000 down to 3,000 and see how it would actually pick up. Now, when I started this out and everything else, so that again, I have my numbers right here and everything else, so that you can see it, so that it showed that, you know, 8,500 is where this sweet spot is if you just want to make sure you can get full burn right here. So that's 8,500 at 50%, sorry, at 80% power, because I wanted to again see what it can do. So I was like, okay, well, you know, engraving at 80% power and everything else of that, and at 8,500 is pretty damn fast. Again, I have a 5.5, sorry, I have a 5-watt laser already instead of, and it ain't doing 85. It's not even close. Okay. So then I did my other set of testing, because I wanted to see what it's going to take to cut out. That's this side right here. Now, again, as you can see at the, oh, let me move fingers for that. Again, I tried 650, 800, and basically this one here was 550. This was when I did the first time, it didn't cut through. The second time I went to 650, and again at 35% power, nope. 55% power, nope. Unfortunately, I had the dashes set up for this one here, so that, which was a mistake and everything else, but it still did not cut through. And then when I did 100% power at 650, it cut through. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go to 555. Now, when it cut through this one at this 650, I had to tap on it a bit to get it out. So again, that wasn't working. Now again, you can see I did try higher values on the side here, but it just wasn't cutting it. So this is the first one at 100% at 555, where it cut clean through, and I didn't have any issues. I didn't have to tap it. It just fell out on its own. It just said, okay, I'm done. And it just fell out. All right. So again, if you look at the test on this side here, you can see how hard it burns at the top over here. And I had to have it down to 50%. Again, so it's, to me, this is acting like a 7.5. And again, I have had people that have lasers and everything else, so that's why I got into it. I had people that have a 7.5 and a 10. This is acting more between the 7.5 and 10 because of the laser focus. Even though it says 5.5, it doesn't really do that. It does way above that. It's really on the hotter side. So I'm like, okay, cool. So once we got this out the way, once we knew we can etch and everything else, that I started to do. Now I'm gonna put up a picture of the coasters and everything else of that, so that way you can see it and everything else of that. And basically, I did a military theme for the coasters with the coasters. Coasters were number one because again, the slate, hard to mess up and everything else of that, and they turned out, as you can see, pretty damn well. You know, I have pets that have passed away and everything else, and we need to put some memorials outside and everything else of that. So what you're looking at right here is a mix of, basically it's a 50-50 mix of concrete and this is the thin set mortar. So it's 50-50 mix. So again, I wanted to print that. Now I painted it and everything else of that because I wanted to see how it was going to do. It is actually engraved in between here. Now, again, I hopefully I can make it a little bit closer and it'll focus. Yep, you can see that there's actually an engraved into the thing. Now, again, the speed, I can play with it and everything else, that, and you can see, since this is a regular state, one side is actually closer than the other. This side here is thicker, as you can see, and this side here was thinner. So unfortunately, even though it did engrave into this pretty well, the section that was of course closer to the laser did a better job of actually going into it. So again, you can do like this, and again, this won't come off right through it, but it is engraved inside of it. You know, not really deep, but deep enough so you can actually feel the difference between here, and when I run across it, you can actually, my nail gets caught going between one section and the next section. So it actually engraved in here pretty well. So again, this is basically like a slate coaster, but basically it's concrete. Now, if anybody wants in the comments to know what power had that stuff and everything else, then I can make a video with that as well. All right. So the next thing I did was, well, let's make some Mother's Day things. Now, this is a two-part process. You have to cut out the background first in circle. You got to put the hole in the top and everything else of that. And then you have to make reliefs. Now, as you can see right here, so that I had the first ones I tried weren't deep enough. So what I did was I turned on crosshatch and light burn. So it went from here, basically crosshatch is basically like having two passes. Crosshatch is basically one's going to be going down like this, and then it's going to come back and go like this. So when I put the crosshatch on and everything else, that it instantly made it a lot deeper. You can see how far in that actually is, and you can see how much clearer it is. Now again, you can see it cut it out smoothly without a lot of burning. The edges are clean. Again, I didn't sand this. There's no sanding and everything else, so that the edges are clean and everything else. So again, and I already told you what the settings were, so that this was at cutting was at 550, 80% power. So you cut it out, and from there, now basically you have a relief cut because you have two of these. You have one basically here, so you can see how complex the cut was. So it had to put the hole at the top and then cut out this section right here and everything else, so that for you to have two sections. So again, that's with the cutouts. Now I would have to I was making some other things for Mother's Day as well. And again, you can see same basic outside cutout for this here and everything else, and then you can see the engrave and everything else of that. And that was at actually no, this one was at 6,500 at 80% power. And of course the engrave, the cutout and everything else was 550 at 80% power. So again, it cuts out pretty well. It does, again, no charring on the sides and everything else of that, because I didn't have to do so many passes with it. Now, I found that if I use a 650 at times and basically make two passes, it came out a lot cleaner than using the 550 with one pass. So it really depends on how you want to do it and everything else. It depends on how clean you want the edges, on how much power you want to use. Now, that's this here. Now, I was also making earrings. Now, I'm going to show you a butterfly earring. And you can see how small it is, and you can see how much detail that it was able to get in this butterfly. Now again, that's my finger. So you can see how small it is and how much detail was actually being made to do this right here. Okay. Then I made larger ones of various sizes. Now, this was the largest butterfly I made. Get right here, really good. Now this is red, so, and you can see how clean it came out and everything else of that. Now again, it's adapted a little bit because again, I had to make it look, when I made it bigger, the hole was not centered the way it's supposed to be and everything else of that. But you can see that it can make jewelry and everything else of that pretty easily from scrap wood that you've already done another project with. You don't lose any of your wood. You just use the scrap and everything else of that, and you can make stuff like this. Now again, of course, I had to buy the earrings, the part that goes into here separately. I bought it on Amazon. The link for that will be inside the description. And other things that I made. Now I want to show you what happens when you have it with too much power. Now hopefully you can see the charring. Yep, there you go. You can see the charring when I was making something fine like this and I was using 550 at 100% power. So when I changed it to 650, oh sorry, you can see this one better. Yeah, about how black that is. This is a better one. So that when I was on that from the same, when I was using 550 and 100% power, you can see how much charring it is versus using 650 and doing, there it is, using 650 and doing two passes. So if you slow it down just a bit and make two passes on it, it comes out better than trying to make one heavy pass that you'll have a lot of charring is for that you basically can't use this one and everything else. That again, this was another one that you can really see that again I used how much charring you get if you don't use if you burn too quickly. Now the good thing about this machine is it's set up automatically. It comes with air assist already set up out of the gate. It comes with it automatically. So it comes with the hose and everything else that you can do everything you can to use air assist out of the box. Now it does come with, if you want to use air assist, comes with magnetic. You have to take off the air assist nodules for that, and then you can put this on side of it and everything else for you to be able to do engraving and everything else of that. Easy. So again, I haven't used this section here for that because I like using air assist. So for my air assist, I basically bought this. Now the link will be in the description and everything else of that. This is a pump for fish tank. Now, of course, you have to have the right CFM and everything else of that like theirs has and everything else of that. So again, this will be in a separate video and everything else of that with specs and all that stuff like that. But again, this is what I'm using for air assist. And all you have to do is, again, it comes with this part here. It comes with the hose, comes with this, and it comes with the cable. To make this work, you just have to buy a small piece of hose. Normally cars have this and everything else. And literally, I actually went out to my truck. I had a hose that was actually too long, a quarter-inch hose that was long. Let's cut a bit off of it, right? Once I cut a bit off it and everything else of that, again, it comes with a compression fitting. This is fitting comes with from the factory, which is a godsend. You don't have to try to set up and figure out air assist and everything else of that. And you put it on, and literally, I can hold it up. That's how good this fitting is and everything else. And when I'm done with it for the night, and again, it's compression fitting. You press it on the fitting. Oops. Need two hands to do this. Comes right back off. So they do have air assist on their website that you can buy, but I got this at a fraction of the price, and it works great. Is it worth it? I paid under $200 for mine. Yeah, most definitely. It's bare bones basic, like I said in the other video and everything else of that. You have to home it yourself, meaning that you have to start it off in the home position. But as you can see, the amount of stuff that I've already made in that short period of time is just excellent. The only thing that I wish they would have done, and there's a couple of things. I wish they would have offered an option to have limit switches, even if it was a couple of dollars more for the limit switches. Something that should be always inside of your thing is glasses. The setup for it, as I discussed in the other one, pretty easy. It came with all the accessory that you need and everything else. That some of the things are 3D printed, and it comes with actually two different types of adjustments. One for it to be used with this, and one adjustment that is able to be used with the other lens. The problem is, this is not the original. I lost the original. Well, it's probably behind my desk somewhere because I sat it inside of this little keeper right there, and when I put it up, it fell out the keeper. That because it comes with a keeper to hold this in it. I wish they would have included on because they give you a USB with a micro SD card in it. I wish it had the STL file so you can 3D print another one of these easily. I just know how to do it really easily. So basically, I replicated what was already there and made myself a new one. If not, I would be scared to remove this one again. You do have this one here, but this one is made. The big silver one is made for use with this one here, whereas you have a black one that's made to use with the other one. One of the other gripes is the frame itself at 300 by 300 is too small. It should have been at a minimum, because again, when I'm doing 6-inch rounds, I can't get 3 of them abreast on to each other. It's not enough room. So even when I'm trying to do coasters, I can technically fit the 3 coasters inside of there, but that's for engraving. And I wanted to make a template so I can always have it, just put the template in, sit the coasters inside it, and be done to do it right way all the time, replicate it each time, rather having to do adjustments to make it work and everything else of that. This is too small. I know they sell an extension thing that makes it really big, but the base model of this should have been at a minimum 320 of cutting area. It should have been in the minimum 320 cutting area, because again, a lot of people do coasters and everything else like that, and that would be able to get the 3 coasters in a line and still have just a bit left over for you to sit the coasters inside of a template and be able to replicate your things like that. The way I have to do it now is if I make a template that only has 2 again, sorry, 2 and 2, because again, it's the same error issue when you go the other way. So you cannot fit it the way it's supposed to be. So again, if they made it 320 by 320, the cutting area, that would have been great. The other thing I wish they would have done so that is how it sits. Now you can look on Thingiverse, there are STL files that will actually readjust the height. Because what happens is when it's sitting flat, the area for the bottom of this doesn't leave you a lot of room. If you have anything longer that sits outside of the width of it, it won't fit underneath it because it'll hit. So you'll have to boost up the sides to be able to make something that's longer to fit underneath it. I wish they would have came with extensions that you could, if you wanted to do that for that. And when you assemble it, you can already assemble it with the extensions on it, because if you know you're going to use it that way, or a way to easily do that, or have it so that you can sell it, that they have it that you can buy from them and you can do it during the assembly. Everything else about this is great. Now again, the track things on the side and everything else that has the numbering and everything else of that, it's not useful, because it's not really going to tell you where it's not telling you exactly the width of the thing. It's not in the millimeters that says, okay, when you have it lined up and you have it square like this. So I can get this in there, where it should be able to tell you, okay, that's position 0 0, and on that side 0 0, and then unnumbered from that point up until where it stops at 300 at the top. So you would be able to know, okay, this is my limit. The way it looks right here, it makes you think that you have a lot more surface area that you can do than you actually have, because again, since this is inside, the bump stops where it hits at and everything else that stops it. The other thing that they need to fix is their interface is in Chinese. So when you buy it, you try to install it, you won't be able to install the Wi-Fi things also there, because it's not in another language. You can't install that stuff unless you know that just keep clicking where the yes would be to install stuff. And a lot of people won't install stuff where they can't read what it is. They're like, oh no, I don't know what this thing is going to install on my computer and blah 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 and everything else like that. The hardware itself, great. The software that comes with it, no. That's where it falls down at. You have Lightburn, which again, you have to pay for Lightburn. So basically, out of the box, you can use it out the box with Laser Gerbil, but you have a tough road to toe to make it work. They do have an app for Android, but again, to install that and install it on the computer to make it work is just a cluster. It's not really, you know, that's where it falls down at. So again, I have Lightburn, so it made my life a crap ton easier. I'm like, okay, well, I know the specs. I can put it inside of here. Laser Gerbil is what it uses, so do boom, up and running quickly. But if you wanted to use this as a standalone, again, you can always use the SD card. You can basically put the SD card in your computer, copy the code to the SD card, put it in the SD card, and do it from there. But a lot of people, they're into laptops and touchpads and all for that, and they want to be able to do it from there and make the drop a picture in and do it. No, you can't do that with this. This is a basic machine, but you have to have some knowledge to actually make it work. If you don't, it's not going to be good for you. Well, that's it for me. This is Warp 123 saying warp out, have fun. We're going to catch you guys on the next one.